What's going on, everyone? It's Marco Hanna, and it's 2015, and it's time to talk about next generation smartphones. One that really kicks off every single year is the brand new HTC One device. Last year we had the HTC One M8. It was a super amazing device. Everyone loved that phone, including myself. Had a beautiful 5-inch display, a brand new construction, looked super good. It was a little bit on the slippery side, but honestly, I really didn't care. It had a gorgeous 5-inch 1080p Super LCD display, and it ran Android 4.4 KitKat with HTC Sense 5, and they sold a Google Play edition, which currently runs Android 5.0 Lollipop. Now, some of the features that HTC debuted with the HTC One M8 was that duo camera feature with the ultra pixel camera. So it had a 4 ultra pixel camera and a focus sensor that lets you focus after taking the shot. Also, things that they brought over from the original HTC One included the boom sound speaker that was actually improved and made more loud, and they also improved the whole design, making it up to 90% of metal, which is aluminum and steel, and also they made the screen bigger with 1080p resolution. They've just made a really great looking device, and I really thoroughly enjoyed using the HTC One M8. Now, with every great phone, there's still some things that I'd like to change about the HTC One M8, and this is where the HTC One M9 could come into play in terms of improving what the HTC One M8 did and having a very great phone for 2015. So let's go ahead and get into the specs here, starting off with the build quality and the design of the brand new HTC One M9. In terms of it looks identical to the HTC One M8. The only real feature that looks very different from the HTC One M8 is the camera sensor and the camera whole unit on the back, and we'll definitely be talking about that in just a little bit. But in terms of design, it uses the same unibody construction, about 90% of aluminum and metal on the back. It's going to be available in gunmetal, one of my favorite colors for the HTC One M8, and it's going to have a 5-inch display. Now, in terms of resolution, everyone's been talking about Quad HD. I honestly don't see the necessary need to go to Quad HD. I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, we want those more extra pixels. Honestly, there's no 1440p content. No one makes that kind of content. And honestly, there is no benefit. And to the human eye, you can't differentiate 1080p and 1440p. Doesn't matter who you are, but anything above 320 pixels per inch, you really can't tell a difference. Now, some of the features that will be carried over from the HTC One M8 to the M9 will be the boom sound speakers. Honestly, everyone's tried front-facing speakers this year, and no one's gotten it right like HTC. So far, the HTC One M8 is still the best sounding smartphone with any type of speaker system. It just hands down the best sounding phone around, and a lot of people have tried that, the Nexus 6, the Moto X, the Moto G, and no one has done it the same way that HTC has done it. Now, some of the rumors with the HTC One M9 includes Dolby Digital actually making the speakers and the software for the HTC One M9, and obviously they're going to improve on the speakers, make them more loud, make them more efficient, and just make them a lot better than the last generation. Now, this kind of gets into the fun part about this device. We're talking about the specs of the brand new HTC One M9. Now, every HTC One is a flagship phone, which means it's going to have flagship specs. Last year, we had a 2.3 gigahertz quad-core 801 chip, 2 gigabytes of RAM, the Adreno 330 GPU. This year, we're taking a look at an octa-core Snapdragon 810 processor, probably 3 gigabytes of RAM, and the Adreno 430 GPU. Now, I'm not sure where the clock speed will be. Around 2 gigahertz is my best guess, around the same as the LG G Flex 2 that was announced at CES last month, and it's going to be a very big powerhouse of a smartphone. Obviously, that will be hooked up to Android 5.0 Lollipop with the latest version of Sense 7.0. There's also probably going to be a Google Play edition in the near future. It won't be announced at that event, and there may be a Windows Phone model. Now, again, it's not going to be announced at that device, but anyone who is wondering, the HTC One M8 was available for Windows Phone, and I'm pretty sure the HTC One M9 will have the same variant available for Windows Phone. Probably will be running Windows Phone 10 that was just announced, and that will probably be later this summer. One of my biggest chief complaints with the HTC One M8 is the battery size. It was actually 2600 milliamps last year. It was up from 2300 milliamps for the original HTC One, and it still didn't prove to be the best amount of battery life. I definitely wanted a bigger, larger capacity to have longer battery life, and hopefully this year we'll have something a little bit closer to the 3000 milliamp hour range. The last rumor I saw was about 2800 milliamps, which is still not as much as I wanted, but it's better than nothing. Also, one thing I should probably mention with the HTC One M8 is the power lock switch was actually a little bit of a reach, and on this new HTC One M9, it looks like the power switch has found a new location on the right side, right below the volume rockers, which kind of stay in the same place, but they are separated and they look a little bit more premium, hopefully a little bit more tactile than the HTC One M8. Just a minor note, but it's definitely going to make a big difference for anyone who has small hands. Next is the HTC One M8's camera. Now, every single generation of the HTC One has had ultra pixels. And ultra pixels are basically larger megapixels, but they generally come in lower amounts. For the HTC One M7, it had 4 ultra pixels, 4 megapixels basically, and this guy still had 4 megapixels. And honestly, it just wasn't the best. In low light, it can do some really good work in terms of letting light in, but the quality of the images, the detail just really wasn't there. And that's just a really big problem. Now, this is where the biggest rumor of the brand new HTC One M9 comes in at. We're talking about a 20.7 megapixel sensor, probably from Sony, on the HTC One M9. That's why the camera module on the back kind of looks big and brash and kind of ugly, but it's probably housing some serious megapixels and some serious optics. Hopefully it can have OIS, just like the Xperia Z3, and hopefully it's going to be a very kick-ass camera. I can't wait to check it out. Honestly, I would be fine with around a 10 to 13 megapixel camera, maybe even throw a little bit more of ultra pixels there, make the pixels bigger to let more light in. But honestly, that's not really necessary, but if you can give us a large amount of megapixels and make the photos look good and make the video quality look good in terms of 4K, then I'm all for it. Go ahead, do it. So that's what you could expect from the HTC One M9 that will be debuted on March 1st at Mobile World Congress. So it's definitely going to be shaping up to be a very interesting year for HTC. And honestly, I'm really excited to see what this new phone has, and what it holds, what new features it has, and just how cool it is, because HTC always seems to do it in a way that I like it. So that sounds a little weird, but I mean, that's kind of true. I love the HTC One M8, I love the M7, and I'm sure I'm going to love the HTC One M9. So make sure to leave your comments below. I want to hear what you guys think about what you think of the brand new HTC One M9 specifications in terms of the rumors, what you've seen. If anything that I've missed, make sure to leave it a comment below and let me know about it, and I might make a new video talking about that or tweet about it at phonedog_Marco. And as always, my name is Marco Hanna from phonedog.com. I'll catch you guys in the next video.